Hello, BookTube. It occurred to me that aside from live streams, I haven't been making a whole lot of videos. I always think about it as that I have been very present, because I've been present over an hour every day. But if it's not a video, I don't know how many people catch live streams, so I thought I'd make a few videos. Unfortunately, I can't make any videos tonight on my phone, which is how I've been making recent videos. And at first, believe it or not, so cell phone centric, it takes root so quickly. At first I thought, well, then you're screwed, you can't make videos. When actually I've made thousands of videos on the laptop without the cell phone. You all managed to get through just fine. So I think we'd manage one night. I want to make a couple of videos just to reconnect. And I'll do a live stream later tonight to reconnect even more. So let's do a little mail. We haven't had any mail in a bit. I've got the bean. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see her. She's right there. You go. She's right under my arm. She's right next to me. Doesn't want to move at all. Let's see what we can do for mail. That ought to perk us up a bit. What is this first one? Okay, we have a pub sheet. This is all going to be for next year. I'm sure this is all going to be for next year. Now this comes out in late February. This is the Britannias, an Archipelago's Tale by Alice Albina. Very nice cover there. Very nice. A stunning revelatory portrait of Britain through its islands. The book weaves history, myth, and travelogue to rewrite the story of this island nation. From Neolithic Orkney to 21st century Westminster, Viking Shetland, and Druidical Angsley, we explore the furthest reaches of Britain's island topography and identity, once known by the collective term the Britannias. In an act of feminist inquiry, personal adventure, and literary quest, Alice Albina takes the reader on a series of journeys reaching from Europe to the Caribbean, Ireland to Scandinavia, listening carefully to ancient ghosts along the way. Okay, all right, okay. There's no such thing as feminist historical inquiry. You're either inquiring into history or you're not. And there are no such things as ghosts. This book examines how the smaller islands which ring the mainland have wielded disproportionate influence on the center, becoming the fertile breeding ground of political, cultural, and technological innovations that shaped history throughout the archipelago. The Britannias also uncovers the ancient British theme of islands conquered and ruled by women, from Roman colonial reports and Welsh medieval poetry to ancient Irish travelogues, Restoration utopias, and Gaelic oral literature to modern science fiction. Okay, and the thing that all those have in common is that they are fictional. I don't think I'm going to get that from this author, because I think this author is not a historian. I think this author is an ideologue with a religion to push. The author looks far back into the past for direction and solace. That past was entirely and brutally ruled by men. While uncovering searing truths about women's status in the political body still known as Britain. Okay, how many female prime ministers? Do you have the right to vote? Do you have the right to own property? Do you have the right to make millions? Do you have the right to sue? Do you have the right to divorce? This new work boldly upturns established truths about Britain's vaunted identity as an island nation while revealing its suppressed and forgotten beauty. Okay, well, this comes out in late February. I admit, from that pub sheet, I have no hopes for it whatsoever. I've talked on this channel many times about works being ideologically captured, about institutions being ideologically captured. It's only a matter of time until this will happen to history, too. We'll see. The author could surprise me very much. The pub sheet gives me no hope, but the book may be full of hope. But that comes out in February. Let's see are we going to have any December releases here, or is it all going to be February? Let's see. Okay, this next one. Oh no, don't do that. Oh no, don't stick your pub sheet in the book. Don't do that. Don't. This comes out in April. Oh, it's an author I really like. This is Wicked Problems by Max Gladstone, the author of the Craft sequence novels that are really good. And this is book 2 of the Craft Wars, fairly hefty science fiction thing coming out in the spring. A deadly force has been unleashed into the world. With apocalypse on the horizon, a girl and a god have joined in order to turn back the coming end. Young, brash, and desperate, they are willing to destroy anything and everything that stands between them and their goals. The structures of the craft are theirs to overturn, with billions of lives in the balance. And it is all Tara Abernathy's fault. The battle for the world of the craft is heating up. A dead god will rise, a mountain will fall, ancient fire will be stolen, and while Tara races to stop Dawn's plans, the end draws ever closer, skittering across the stars to swallow the world. The craft wars enter their second stage in Wicked Problems, the sequel to Dead Country. And boy, that description certainly makes it sound like you need to read Dead Country. I don't know if I did. I'm pretty sure that I got it. I must have read it because I love this author. I love the world he's created in the craft sequence, so I'll have to check and see. If I don't have, I'm going to need to reread it, obviously. If I can't remember if I read it, I'm going to have to reread it before I do this thing. And if I don't have it, I'm going to have to see if maybe the publicist will send me a copy. But I strongly recommend the other craft novels of Max Gladstone. They are really, really good. We'll move on to this next one. It is a finished copy, so this could be this year. Could be. What have we got here? Oh no, I don't have a slip. The only piece of paper in this was an invoice that won't do me any good. Okay, this is a finished copy, but I don't know when it comes out. This is by Timothy McCall, and it's called Making the Renaissance Man, Masculinity in the Courts of Renaissance Italy. Very nice, very promising. So let's just read from the dust jacket copy. This book explores the images, objects, and experiences that fashioned men and masculinity in the courts of 15th century Italy. Across the peninsula, Italian princes fought each other in fierce battles and spectacular jousts. They seduced mistresses, flaunted splendor in lavish rituals of knighting, and demonstrated prowess through the hunt, in ostentatious performances of masculinity and rule. Hardly frivolous pastimes, these activities were essential displays of privilege and virility. Indeed, violence underlay the cultural veneer of the Italian Renaissance. The author investigates representations of and ideals of manhood and provides a historically grounded and gorgeously illustrated account of how male identity and sexuality proclaimed power in a century crucial to the formation of early modern Europe. And this has tons of illustrations all throughout. Not just an inset in the middle, but everywhere, all throughout the book. And all of them in color, just amazingly good. So it actually has some heft in the hand because it's the heavy stock paper in order to print all of those images. Boy, I don't have enough information. I don't have any information on this. This is Reaction, but I think this is distributed by University of Chicago Press. So if it's anyway connected with a university press, it's not going to have a price printed on the book, and this doesn't. It's heavy. I would imagine this is close to $50. And I don't have a sheet, so I don't know when this comes out. So I'm not much used to, but you can look it up. Making the Renaissance Man sounds very interesting. I don't get a lot of Renaissance history of any kind in the mail. And then let's go to this last one and see what we have here. Oh, oh, fantastic. What perfect timing. Okay, this is a December release, and I can't praise this thing high enough. This is by Christian Wyman. And this is the finished copy of Zero at the Bone. 50 entries against despair. I strongly, strongly recommend this book. It is beautiful. Just beautiful. A little bit tough to categorize, but beautiful. So let's read about it here. Few contemporary writers ask the questions about faith, morality, and God that Christian Wyman does, and even fewer, perhaps none, do so with his urgency and eloquence. Wyman, an award-winning poet and the author of My Bright Abyss, lays the motion of his mind on the page in this genre-defying work, an individual blend of poetry, criticism, theology, and searing memoir. This book begins with Wyman's preoccupation with despair, and through 50 brief pieces, he unravels despair's seductive appeal. The book is studded with the poetry and prose of writers who inhabit Wyman's thoughts, and the voices of Wallace Stevens, Lucille Clifton, Emily Dickinson, and others join his own. At its heart, and Wyman's, however, are his family, his young children, who ask about their own invaluable questions like, why are you a poet? I mean, why? His wife, and those who grew up with in West Texas. Wyman is a rare thinker who takes on the mantle of our greatest mystics and does so with honest, profound, and contemporary sensibility. And Zero at the Bone is a revelation. And once upon a time, ordinarily, I read hyperventilating publicity prose like that and think, oh, that's overselling it. Come on, that's ridiculous. You just didn't know what to write. In this case, it's darn close to being true. I strongly recommend this. Glad to have the finished copy. I know exactly what I'll do with it. Fantastic. All right, well, that's the mail. Great. So we got, at least theoretically, 2 works of nonfiction and 2 works of fiction. I strongly suspect that one of the works of nonfiction is also fiction. but we have Zero at the Bone, a finished copy, Christian Wyman. We have The Making of the Renaissance Man by Timothy McCall, Masculinity in the Italian Renaissance. We have Wicked Problems by Max Gladstone, always reliably good. And we have The Britannias by Alice Albinia. Look at how the islands, the satellite islands, shape the mainland of Britannia. Okay, fantastic. So that is the mail for today. Sorry to have neglected my little onions, but this is all that's coming today, I'm pretty sure. It's always tough to tell because it's so disorienting that it gets dark so early that it's barely past noon when the sun takes on that slanty, I'm getting tired cast. Even the afternoon is nice and bright, but it doesn't feel like the afternoon. It feels like barely paid off from the oncoming night. It's difficult to tell, but looking at the clock, I'm guessing there won't be any more mail today. So I will try to reconnect with mail tomorrow. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.